In the quiet hush of the mountains, where the sun rises slowly and mist curls like a gentle sigh, there stood a farm, old, wide, and waiting. This was Mrs. Doreen's land, and every morning, before the hills fully woke, two young figures walked its narrow paths, Ella and Josiah. They moved together down the hillside, tools in hand, hearts steady. Ella's steps were soft but certain, her hands careful with the soil. Josiah walked beside her, strong and smiling, turning the weight of work into something lighter. The farm seemed to recognize them, leaves shimmering, crops standing taller as if leaning in to listen. From the porch above, Mrs. Doreen watched. Her arms were folded, her eyes sharp. She saw the way Ella knelt in the earth, planting each seed as though it mattered. She saw Josiah lifting heavy baskets, laughing even when sweat traced his brow. And she saw the land respond, green, alive, grateful. But praise never followed. When wages were due, they came late. When mistakes happened, small human ones, pay was cut without mercy. Ella swallowed her hurt. Josiah held his tongue. They endured, not because it was easy, but because hope is sometimes quieter than pain. At night, in their small wooden shelter on the mountainside, they spoke softly of tomorrow, of a life shaped by dignity, of a place where effort was not punished but honored. And still, the farm flourished. Harvest came heavy and bright. Neighbors whispered in admiration. Yet when credit was given, Mrs. Doreen lifted her chin and said only, "It is God's grace upon me." The words fell like cold rain. One evening, as the sun sank behind the mountains and painted the sky in fire and gold, Ella and Josiah made their choice. Not in anger, not in fear, but in quiet strength. They packed what little they owned. Before dawn, they walked away. The mountains faded behind them, their small shelter standing silent as the path opened towards the countryside. Mist followed their steps, but it did not hold them back. The sunrise met them ahead, warm, promising. Down on open land, they began again. A small wooden stall, fresh produce, honest smiles. Ella greeted customers with kindness that felt like home. Josiah arranged goods with pride earned through hard days. People returned, then brought others. Laughter grew. This stall flourished, this time their success. They built a life not on endurance, but on joy. Back in the mountains, the farm grew quiet. Workers would not come. The soil, once nurtured, grew tired. Fields dulled, gates closed. Mrs. Doreen stood alone among what remained, watching the wind pass through empty rows. Only then did understanding arrive, but it was too late. Far away, under a kinder sky, Ella and Josiah stood side by side, hands joined, faces lit by lantern glow and earned peace. They had learned what the land had always known, that care creates abundance, that kindness multiplies, and that those who plant with love will always, in time, harvest joy. And so they lived happily ever after. And so they did.